We're live. It's Ringside Report MMA Halloween edition. Fury versus Ngannou. The fight preview coming up.
Let's go!
Yes, indeed. We are here. We are live. And I think AJ's here too. Even AJ. Hey, AJ. Oh, wait a second. Is that AJ or Steven Seagal? I'm confused. AJ was all dressed up here before we started the show, and he pressured me. He's like, Dave, you got to dress up. It's a Halloween show. And I said, it's a little early for Halloween, isn't it? Halloween's what, Tuesday? It's the 26th of October. We still got a lot of time. I wasn't quite ready, but I guess we're in full Halloween mode. We got the Rob Cluse. Shout out Rob Cluse, new member. Halloween graphics, some Halloween music. So I'm dressed up as one of the New York Yankees. Which Yankee? I'm Anthony Volpe, okay? Or I thought about being Garrett Cole, but I've decided to identify tonight as Anthony Volpe, rookie shortstop for the New York Yankees. And AJ, you are Steven Seagal. You asked me to guess, and I made the guess, and I guessed correctly. It's a pretty good Steven Seagal gimmick. You got, like, hair stuff going on. I think there's a wig. And like some hair paint, I think you have going on. I think, is that did you dye your beard too? Did you go all in and dye your beard black? You did, didn't you? Is that a real beard?
Listen, little grasshopper.
Yeah?
I'm going to tell you something that I told Anderson Silva for his win, thanks to me. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be a podcast hero. I convinced you to be a radio host. I convinced you to be the number one. And really, the number one is me, because Steven Seagal, when he talks, people listen. So you are right, young grasshopper. I am Steven Seagal. Who else would I be?
I really hope you're not going to talk this way for the whole show. Please don't be in gimmick the whole show. I can't handle it. I won't like it.
You know, people that talk fast, talk last.
What?
Think about it.
No, that's stupid. It doesn't even make sense. You really are Steven Seagal. Really channeling the energy of nonsense. Ridiculous.
Steven Seagal, the greatest martial artist ever. People talk about Bruce Lee. They could talk about Chuck Norris. They talk about Conor McGregor. They talk about Khabib. But the greatest is here. You know it. And I know
it's actually a good impression. Like, you're good at this. Have you been doing this all day or what?
All week, Dave.
All week.
All week. I got my incense going here. As long as my hair doesn't go on fire, we're all good. I brought my gun because, as you know, I was a great sheriff. I was a great sheriff.
Shout out Patrick C. Hamilton dropping the spooky 777 super chat. Thank you, Patrick.
You're a good man, Patrick.
AJ is spooky.
You're a good man.
AJ's real spooky.
You keep talking, Dave. I'll catch the fly. I'll catch that fly.
You got so many gimmicks. This is so elaborate. This is way more elaborate than my slap-together costume of grabbing my Yankees hat and grabbing this sweet jersey that Johnny North got me for my birthday. And then putting it on and going, yep. Yeah, thanks, Johnny.
That was nice of Johnny. I'd even get you something.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You'll be compensated for Hanukkah.
Super chat, super chat.
This Steven Seagal impression is really good. It's like the best impression you've ever done. This is maybe your most elaborate costume yet, and you've done so many costumes over the years. But this one, like, there's makeup, there's a wig, there's an accent, there's a robe. There's so much going on. I don't even want to question it too much. I don't want to.
This is one of a kind. It's only masters that get this, Dave. You're not a master yet. You're a blue belt. But one day when you're a master, I will give you this. Because I am a little older than you. So I'll leave this back to you, Dave. But you must snatch the pebble out of my hand first. And if you think I'm joking, here's the pebble.
Snatch the pebble. What the hell is that?
Bruce Lee stole it from me.
It makes a noise too. What is going on over there? You got so many gimmicks. This is by far your most elaborate costume. I
Better
applaud
than the
you.
George
This
St.
is
Pierre one?
fantastic. Angelo Cartagonis dropping the super chat. He says, "I can't take this. LOL." Angelo, the new super chat leader of the show. Thank you, Angelo. I mean, it's ridiculous, AJ. You've gone so far with this Seagal impression. I know we had a little technical blip a second ago. I think we had like an internet kind of. I know we were like buffering for a bit, so thanks for sticking with us there.
That's what she said.
Shouldn't be a problem during the show. We should. I think we have all that.
She likes
fixed.
the buffer.
We called the internet company. We had internet problems, AJ. You know, for a few shows we were having problems.
Super chat.
But then we called the internet, called the cable company and said, "Hey guys, get it together." And I think they've got it together. Although just now there was like a bit of an issue, and I was like, "Hey, don't make me call you back, Videotron."
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. And this is for Angelo because he knows this character. It's called Nico. When I was playing Nico, which I am Nico, I would have fixed it in nanosecond, Dave. You know, because Nico technically is Greek. Did you know that?
What you're talking about. Doug Hepburn in the chat, he says his favorite Seagal movie is Under Siege. I don't think I've ever seen that.
The greatest. I might have floppy hands when I run, but I got one hell of a kick. You want to see it?
No.
Anderson Silva knows. It's because he won.
Machida knows.
Machida, too. He knows.
Yes, I remember. I remember when Steven Seagal was taking credit for victories from Anderson Silva and Lyoto Machida, and somehow Anderson Silva was like giving him credit for it too. He was like, yes, Steven Seagal taught me all of this. He was only doing it because he wanted to get his movie career going, and he wanted to give credit to Seagal because he thought Seagal was his ticket.
No, you're wrong, Dave.
Yeah, okay, I'm wrong. You're going to back up Steven Seagal. Hey, Steven
Seagal, the greatest
you remember when, what's his name, Gene LaBelle choked you out and made you poop your pants? Remember when that happened?
That's rumors, David.
No, that's true.
I don't know where you got that
Gene
information
LaBelle
for that.
choked you out on a movie set because you were talking too much trash, choked you out, and you crapped your pants, Steven Seagal. That happened. Because all that crane kick, nonsense
I'm gonna tell you,
doesn't mean anything when you're facing a real wrestler with a real grip that can hook and shoot and can grab your neck and strangle it 10 ways.
Wait, Dave, I'm going to tell you this because I'm on your show. It really pains me to hear this because it's all rumors.
Shut up, Steven Seagal.
But
you're a bad guy, you're a sexual assaulter, and you're overall a piece of trash.
Whoa.
I got no love for Steven Seagal. If Steven Seagal wants to step to me, I will throw a fastball right in his face because I'm Garrett Cole now from the Yankees, and I will throw a fastball right in his face.
Well, they're not
Some
doing
high
so well
heat
this
Steven
year,
Seagal.
Dave?
You want to talk about chin music?
Texas.
I'll throw a 98-mile-per-hour fastball right at your noggin. Big old noggin.
Have you ever seen some of my movies?
Too, Steven Seagal.
Have you ever seen some of my movies, Dave?
You ever seen Garrett Cole's fastball? You ever seen some of the movement on his pitches?
Have you ever seen the hand movement of
Who'd Steven Seagal ever strike out? Nobody.
Everybody. The only man who fights and never bleeds. What more do you want?
Steven Seagal wins fake awards. Garrett Cole wins Cy Youngs. Get out of here, Steven Seagal. Garrett Cole, way better. Way cooler, too. So much cooler. Garrett Cole.
I would wrist lock him, and he'd never throw a ball again in his life. The only balls he'd be able to touch is the ones between his legs. But I'm going to tell you this, Dave. Going back to that Gene LaBelle, I issue him a challenge.
He's dead.
Nobody. Well, that's his problem. He would have lost.
That's his problem. That's a great Seagal answer. That is what he would say, too. That's so good. What's wrong with you, AJ? It's funny. Like I figured out like who your inspiration is as a man. I think it is Steven Seagal. You do look up to him a little bit.
I'm going to tell you something, Dave.
Do you for real respect Steven Seagal? Because I don't. I think he's like real trash. He's like a trash person.
You think Steven Seagal carries these things for no reason? You know what these are?
Ninja swords.
These were given to me by the Emperor himself.
Yeah, see,
You think
now
you think
now
Tila
it's all
Bell carries
coming
this?
together. You are like an old ninja man, and you do own that robe and all the balls that make noise and the swords and all
I
that
like the
stuff.
balls, Dave.
You have all that old ninja stuff because
I
old
do.
martial arts guys have that stuff. You know, like if you're a Bruce Lee fan and you got into martial arts and you did fights in a real way like AJ has, this is the kind of stuff you have in your home. You have like ninja robes and you have swords, and you've done a lot of shopping in Chinatown in like these weird shops. You've bought like a lot of stuff there. You spent way too much money in Chinatown in those stores that no one else goes to but ninja guys. Right, AJ?
You get good underwear there too, Dave. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But-
See, he knows exactly what I'm talking about because AJ's not the only guy like this. Like there are other guys like you, AJ, that I've met
Most of the
throughout
people
my
in my
travels.
age category,
Yeah.
I'm sure Angelo and Pat and the rest understand the great arts of Aikido.
I don't have any swords. I'm like a
Who doesn't
newer
have
school
swords?
martial arts guy. I'm like a wrestling martial arts guy.
These are the marshmallow kids of today. They don't understand real fighting. You think Conor McGregor would be that great against the great Nico?
I don't know who that is, but yeah, I think he would smash him because the martial arts are way more evolved now than they used to be.
Do you know that
People know how to fight better now than they ever have
gonna
in the
tell you
history
something,
of
Dave.
humankind, I think.
I'm going to tell you something, Dave. I was a sheriff. You think I was a sheriff for no reason?
Holy shit.
I became a sheriff.
You are going to keep this
I have the
gimmick all
badge.
night, eh?
I have the badge. I've got the. Where's my gun? Where's my gun? Let me show you this. You think this gun was given to me for no reason? You think this gun was given? See this? See this, Dave?
Yeah.
This was given to me by the sheriff that I took out. He
Why do
knew
you
it
have a
was good
gun?
for him. Because I'm a sheriff.
What kind of gun is that anyways? It doesn't look like a little toy gun. I mean, it kind of does, but I can't tell.
Don't ask too many questions, Dave. That's what got you in trouble in the first place.
What? You really are keeping on this Seagal gimmick all night, right? Like, can we have a regular show? Fred's not here. Fred's sick.
'Cause I took him out.
And I'm like
Can I have
worried
3 on
now
the show?
because I'm stuck with this weird gimmick all night. I'm not comfortable with doing a show like this. So, is AJ in there? Angelo says,
If you
"Shut up,
kinda-
AJ." I agree. Shut up, AJ.
Oh, Angelo, you would get heel hooked so fast by the great, and actually an honor from the great Steven J. Seagal. You know what J stands for? Jumping jelly beans. I made a mistake to fight this guy. Exactly. Peace to the world. Go ahead, Dave. Let's talk
Okay.
MMA.
Hi, Leor. Shout out Leor in the chat. Shout out Doug, Leor, Angelo, all the members over at join.ringsidereport.net. Membership.ringsidereport.net.
Please take a membership. You think it's easy to do this stuff? It ain't easy.
Johnny North says, no Halloween tomorrow. I don't celebrate. Oh, John doesn't want to do a Halloween show tomorrow night on the show.
Why? What's up
Because
with
he
the
doesn't
great
do
Johnny?
Halloween, Johnny North. He's like, he doesn't celebrate things.
Is he, I was going to say something, but it might get me in trouble, but
Don't say
Is
it
it-
then.
I have to.
No, you don't.
I got to. Deep down, Steven Seagal, is worried about the great Johnny. But he's always in costume. When he goes and oil down and wrestles, would you not consider that a costume?
Fair enough. I guess
Thank
you
you.
could. I guess
See?
you could. Yeah.
Steven Seagal's not only
Leor
gorgeous
says
and
you
tall,
look
he's
like a
also very
vampire.
wise.
Like you look like Dracula. I kind of thought you were Dracula at first too, but then you started talking, and I saw your robe, and I was like, "Oh, okay, he's Steven Seagal." Because I know you, But if I didn't know you, I'm not sure if I would have got to Steven Seagal.
You think Dracula would have chopsticks?
Like, have
I
you
don't
worn
think
this costume out of the house?
so. It will be.
No, not yet, right?
Do I have
I
to
don't know
admit
if
that?
everybody's going to catch that you're Steven Seagal. Like, I caught it because I know you. I know you're into martial arts. I know you're about Seagal's age. You know? All right. We got to talk about Jon Jones, Francis Ngannou, and some real stuff here, AJ. Jon Jones tore his pec. He needs surgery. The fight with Stipe Miocic next month is off. It's not happening, but it will happen. Dana White is adamant it will happen one day. Stipe will wait. Jon Jones will get surgery on his pec. He will heal up. He will come back. He'll fight Stipe. When that may be, it's not clear. Jon Jones is hoping to get surgery as quickly as possible. The recovery time could be 8 to 12 months.
Jesus.
So, yeah. I mean, you tear your pec, you need surgery. It could take a while. Cody Rhodes tore his pec. Still beat Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell before having surgery, brother. Jon Jones couldn't beat Stipe Miocic before having surgery. Come on, brother. Cody Rhodes can do it, Jon Jones. But, of course, that's not real fighting. But Cody Rhodes, just as an example, he tore his pec. He tore it completely off the bone. It was a really bad tear, and he was out for about...
How do you do that?
He was out for about 9 months, 10 months.
How do you do that?
Wrestling.
No, but was it a particular move he was doing? Because the one with Jon Jones,
it was a takedown.
I can tell you.
On Jon Jones, it was on a takedown, and it just kind of...
I saw that. He overextended. If there's one thing that you do, he went for the double, and he swirled around. He almost did a 180. The problem is on that 180 swirl, he kind of overextended and tried to use one arm to take down his opponent that he was practicing with, which was a big heavyweight. The problem is that when you overextend like that and you're trying to turn, man, it's unfortunate. If he didn't do that and he would have just recentered or just started again, he wouldn't have been injured. But he really overextended. It might also be a lot of wear and tear as well. We don't see that. And let me tell you, let me get into the AJ mode. Steven Seagal, sit down.
Yeah, please.
I'm going to tell you this. We've seen that many times. We saw that with Johnny Walker. We've seen that with many fighters. Every time they get upper body injuries, sometimes, man, it doesn't heal as well as it should. And it can't play we'll see, man. That's not something good that Jon Jones wants. You know what I'm saying? Upper pec, man, it's hard, man. It's got to heal. 10 to 12 months, I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, man. It's sad because I think Jon Jones, and I love Stipe, but he would have had a hard time against Jon Jones in this fight. Jon Jones would have walked away with another win, cement himself as the greatest heavyweight in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe
too bad
Naganou has something otherwise to say on that, but
we were so close. We were so close to the fight. That's what really gets me, is that we've had all this time to anticipate, months and months of knowing this fight was going to happen. November 11th, UFC 295, Madison Square Garden, heavyweight championship of the world. Jon Jones, greatest fighter of all time. Stipe Miocic, greatest heavyweight of all time. These guys were probably going to have their last fight ever. Perfect timing. Madison Square Garden, November, towards the end of the year. It just felt right. And now we're sitting here, what? It's 2 weeks away.
Sucks.
And we find out a couple of days ago that it's not going to happen. We're just over 2 weeks out when we found out, actually, sometime next year is when we're going to do this fight, which is what really hurts me, and I think it hurts the fans. The fans go, come on, because we're so close. I've been waiting for this fight for so long, and I was ready, and 2 weeks away, you feel like, okay, this thing's actually going to happen. We're going to get this done, and then boom, an injury and training, and he was really close to being in the home stretch of this training camp and just wrapping up and being ready to go, weight cut mode, ready, although probably no weight cut this time, right, for heavyweight, but Jon Jones was on his way. He was nearly at the finish line, tears his pec, and now he's out for a long time. It's brutal. It sucks for him. It sucks for the fans.
The fans wanted to see this, man.
It's disappointing. It's really disappointing because, we've been watching MMA for a very, very long time now, and there are very few guys in the sport that I actually get excited to see. You know, like you talk about big fights and big names and the guys I really like. Oh my God, I can't wait to see this. Jon Jones is probably at the top of that list for me. As far as guys I like to watch fight, Jon Jones I think is my favorite fighter. Like as far as outside the cage, whatever, but in the cage, watching the career and watching what he's been able to do, he's my favorite because he's just so prolific. He's done so much, and he continues to be so good. That's what's amazing about Jon Jones. It's the body of work. It's the years and years of dominance over everybody and being able to stay so far ahead of the game. It's incredible to watch him work, and I loved watching him fight Ciryl Gane. The wait of 3 years and then having him come back and seeing what he did to Ciryl Gane was just incredible. And I can't wait to see what he's going to do next. He's been training with Gordon Ryan, the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world, probably the best no-gi jiu-jitsu guy ever. And, I wanted to see what Jon Jones looked like after a training camp with Gordon Ryan. What was he going to pull off? What was he going to do? Because every time he steps in there, it's history. It's meaningful. So that's what really disappoints me is that we don't get to see Jon Jones. Honestly, I love Stipe, and I don't have any, no disrespect to Stipe, but for me, it's like the Jon Jones show. It's Jon Jones versus whoever, because I like to watch Jon Jones fight. Obviously, the opponent is great. That fight would have been great, but, for me, it's the story of Jon Jones and seeing what he's been able to do and seeing what he's still able to do. Things that seem impossible that he's able to accomplish in the cage. Like what he did to Ciryl Gane. What he did to Ciryl Gane seemed impossible. Even as he was doing it, I'm like, did he just tap him that quick? Did he just make him look like nothing that quick? He does things in the cage where you go, wow. You just head kick knockout Daniel Cormier?
It's impressive.
He does crazy things. You just flying knee, Shogun Hua. He does everything. He's been so great. So I'm disappointed that we don't get to see him in 2 weeks' time. UFC replaced it with a good fight. We got Sergey Pavlovich now against Tom Aspinall for an interim heavyweight title fight. And that's a great fight. And if you're a UFC fan, if you watch this show, if you follow the sport, Sergey Pavlovich, oh boy. This guy hits hard. This guy is looking like a next, contender for the title. And now he's going to fight for the interim title. And Tom Aspinall, he's been in the heavyweight division for a while. He's been on the rise. He's been looking better and better. He had an injury in a fight, but came back strong in his last one. And now it's Aspinall and Pavlovich. And that's a really good fight for an interim heavyweight championship. Very good. It doesn't replace Jon Jones. Because if you ask the average fight fan on the street, who's Sergey Pavlovich? I mean, most people don't know, but people know who Jon Jones is. The people in the know, the people that really pay attention. Yeah, okay, the hardcore fans, Pavlovich and Aspinall is a good fight, but Stipe and Jon Jones is a money fight. For example, the UFC knows this because when they announced Pavlovich and Aspinall, they didn't make it the main event. They didn't say, this is your new main event, it's the heavyweight title. They said the co-main event, that's been promoted to the main event. So Yuri Prohaska and Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title, that's now the main event, and the interim heavyweight title is now the co-main event. So that shows you that the heavyweight title interim fight, whatever, it's not the draw that the UFC would want to main event the pay-per-view. If it were, it would be main eventing the pay-per-view. And usually, if you have two title fights on a pay-per-view, the heavier weight classes are, is the main event. And the co-main event is a lighter weight class. That's usually how they do it. But that's not the case here. They're going to have the heavyweights go on before the light heavyweights. Light heavyweights is the actual title, and the heavyweights is interim, so maybe you give it that, but it's cool. It's a good fight. Right off the bat, I'd go with Pavlovich because the guy hits like a truck, and I don't see him getting stopped. But Aspinall moves very well.
Dave.
I think that's a good fight. You got Aspinall in that one? That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Aspinall is...
Okay.
He was the future, and he is the future. Regardless of his injury and everything, he came back, and it's going to be tough. I don't take it away from Sergey, but holy smoke, Tom Aspinall is just another level, in my opinion. It's going to be an interesting card. I would have loved to see Jon Jones fight. Pereira, who does want to see like Yuri and Pereira go at it for sure. But imagine if you had all like Jon Jones on there as well. Like it would have been like, what a way to end 295, man. Like it would have been like something. I mean, last week's card was ridiculous. And then you got this. One thing with the UFC, man, they really know how to start putting out some major pay-per-views to end the year. You're leaving the year and you're going to remember these cards. Like last week's card, man, unbelievable. But it's a shame. Look, a lot of injuries this week, man. And that's what it comes down to is that, the thing with training camps, sometimes they just go too hard till the end. And this is what happens, There's a lot of fatigue on them, man. There's a lot of wear and tear, and boom. We had that with George St. Pierre, too. He's out as well.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but two greats went out in the same week, pretty much.
Yeah. Lior says, oh, what? I thought heavyweight was main event. Happy to hear Yuri and Pereira was promoted to the main event. Yeah, the light heavyweights now main event of 295. 15% says, I'll take Aspinall, too, agreeing with...
Yep. Absolutely.
AJ. And Angelo thinks we'll probably see Jones sometime in 2025. I hope you're wrong, Angelo. I hope we get to see him in 2024. But maybe early 2025. Like, you might be right. But I think, it's November. I think he'll be ready to go by next November. I think in a year's time, next November, Madison Square Garden, I think he'll be ready.
So long, man. We're in October now. Like, it's who knows what could happen from now
to October. And that's what really sucks,
November.
Right? That's what really sucks is that we were 2 weeks away from a Jon Jones fight, and now we're probably about a year away from it.
Is that insane or what?
We were 2 weeks away from something awesome, and now it's like, no, actually, you have to wait another year. What?
And it really comes down to on how successful his surgery is, how successful he comes back from that surgery, and what I'm saying is there's a lot of question marks. It could be that we see Jon Jones again, or we might start hearing rumors that, Jon Jones is going to step back and, retire as the greatest fighter based on an injury that he can't come back from.
Does that happen anywhere else in sports or entertainment when something is going to drop in 2 weeks? Like the movie's coming out in 2 weeks or a TV show's coming out or... Like, if a football game is going to happen in 2 weeks, like the Super Bowl or whatever, it doesn't get canceled because one guy gets hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a weird thing in MMA that we have to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, being MMA fans, like, sometimes these things happen. Sometimes things that we're really waiting for, and it's like, here we go, it's about to drop. You don't see it in other forms of entertainment. I'm trying to think of an example in any other sport, and I don't think it exists.
Well, in movies, what's his name? That guy, that actor, what's his name? Baldwin, that shot the camera.
Yeah, but that movie wasn't 2 weeks away from releasing.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? I'm saying
Dave.
2 weeks away. Like you're ready for a thing. It's 2 weeks away, and then it's like, no, you got to wait another year. Like there's a video game about to come out, and then, no, actually it's not ready for another year. Like, it just doesn't happen very often in any kind of sport or entertainment other than the UFC. But, hey, it can't be helped. It's the nature of the beast. That's the way the sport works.
I see some comments about my girlfriend there.
What? Mackenzie Dern. Is she on that UFC 295 card? I saw something... the rest of the card looks kind of weak, except for HA's favorite, Mackenzie Dern. That's what Lior is saying about UFC 295.
Thank you for recognizing that.
She's fighting Jessica Andrade. Oh, but how about Matt the Steamroller Frivola against BSD Benoit Saint Denis? That's a good
Benoit,
fight right there.
That's a fireworks fight right there.
Yeah,
man.
don't forget. Come on, guys. Don't sleep on the Steamroller Frivola versus BSD Benoit Saint Denis. I like those guys. That's a good fight. But that's kind of like, that's not a big money fight where a lot of fans get excited. They're not big name guys, but if you watch UFC, if you watch all the fights every week, all the time like we do, you know, guys like BSD and Matt Frivola, the Steamroller Frivola, get you excited too. Jared Gordon and Mark Madsen is not bad. Yeah, but it's not the best. Tabitha Ricci and Lupi Godinez is okay. I'll take that. I'll watch that. But Mackenzie Dern and Jessica Andrade is a big fight. That should be on the pay-per-view. That's a big one.
It is on the pay-per-view.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the lineup in front of me as far as like who's pay-per-view, who's prelim.
Lopez. Huh? She's there. She's on the main. Okay. Yeah, you got Pat Sabatini and Diego Lopez.
Yeah.
You know, Pat Sabatini, great fighter, man. You know, he came from, if I'm not mistaken, Cage Fury in New Jersey, man.
Oh, yeah. The CFFC.
He fought a couple of our local, Montreal guys, man.
Cage Fury Fighting Championships.
Oh, yeah.
You know who does commentary for that, right? Fighters. CM Punk.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
People
right,
always take clips of CM Punk talking at those events, you know. Hey, I'll be doing something in November in Chicago, you know. People are like, what? What does that mean, you know?
Steven Seagal would say he learned from him.
Cool. So you've got Aspinall and I've got Pavlovich. I like it. I like that we're already on different sides of that fight, AJ. And it's only 2 weeks away. So next week, this weekend, just so everybody knows, this weekend there's no UFC. We do have Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou that we'll break down in a little bit here on the show. And we will be doing the watch-along of Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou on Saturday afternoon. The fight is in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So we will be watching that fight with you Saturday afternoon here on the Ringside Report Network, and we'll preview that. But there's no UFC card this weekend. There is a UFC card next weekend. They'll be in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I love when the UFC goes back to Brazil, where Derek Lewis stepping in to replace the injured Curtis Blades. Derek Lewis takes on Jailton Almeida, which... again, Jailton Almeida is one of those guys where if you know, you know. Dana White says that a lot, right? If you know, you know. And Jailton Almeida is a monster. And if you've seen him at all, you're like, oh, my God, I can't wait to see this guy again. He's a damage maker. So he could be a heavyweight champion. Like, he's really dangerous. I think he's going to smash Derek Lewis.
Well, you know what? Derek Lewis looked great in his last fight. His conditioning is incredible. He's lost so much weight. His energy was there. This guy, for a heavyweight, man, he has these flying knees that most guys at that weight cannot do. I mean, this guy is takeoff. He's up in the air, man. He'll knock you out with any of those flying knees. That's the thing with Derek Lewis. He's got a killer punch. He can beat you even when he looks like he's about to lose. But right now, man, his conditioning looks great. It's not gonna be an easy cakewalk for Jailton. But for people who don't know who Jailton is, you know, he needs a big name. And unfortunately, Derek Lewis is the guy. It's going to be a good one. But I'm on your side, Dave.
In Brazil.
Is going to be my pick, man. Sorry, Derek. I love you, man. You have the best Instagram account out there. It's amazing.
Jailton Almeida right now, minus 450 the favorite over at bet99.ringsidereport.net. Minus 450 the favorite. And UFC 295, just to let you know, AJ, your girl Mackenzie Dern, minus 210 the favorite over Jessica Andrade. So that's a good sign for you.
Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Of course.
Sergey Pavlovich, plus 110. Tom Aspinall, minus 130. So Aspinall right now is a favorite in the fight.
It's close.
Give me the dog. Give me the dog in the main event, too. Yuri Prohaska. Give me Prohaska. Plus 125 over Alex Poitin Pereira, minus 145. I've got Yuri and Sergey. Eastern Europe all day at UFC 295. The man from Russia and the man from Czech Republic. Smashing time.
Smash.
Yep. I got
Listen,
Yuri
man,
and Sergey. Give me that in a parlay right now at bet99.com.
What,
Give me that.
what's
and
the,
we're going to give you
what's
boosted
the,
odds, too. I had a
wait.
meeting with the Bet99 people this week, AJ, and we've got boosted
you
odds
bring-
coming.
you bring Steven Seagal?
Dave's picks. You know what that means? We're going to do boosted odds, which means I'm going to give you picks, and on the site, it'll say, like, minus 200 or something, but then I'll call my buddies at Bet99. I'll be like, hey, can we give it a little better? And it'll be like minus 150, so there'll be more value.
What?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to add value to the picks. We're going to get boosted odds at Bet99 for the Ringside Report universe. For all the viewers, we're going to give you picks, and then we're going to be like, there's a number here on this at Bet99, but maybe wait till Saturday morning, and there'll be a better number because we're going to give you those boosted odds. So we were talking about some of that stuff with Bet99.com, and it's difficult because they're a sponsor and I want them to do well and they're helping the show and all of that, but at the same time I want to give good picks and take them for everything they got, baby. But they got
that's what it comes down to.
You know what I mean?
Listen,
it's a weird relationship because I'm friendly with them and I want to do well and I want them to do well, but I also want us to do well, and for us to do well we need to take money from them, which is part of the whole, it's part of the game, and they like it. And it's all fun. So we're gonna get some boosted odds, and we'll see how much we can boost them for the viewers, so we can make a lot of cash. They
love when we break their bank, man. They love it, man. Because the thing is that somebody's got to win. Listen, man, I've been listening to a lot of like bookies and other shows, man, including our great friend George St. Pierre. They're wrong all the time, man. Yeah. Sorry to say, George.
We're right.
You're wrong,
more.
Man.
We are right more often than a lot of them. Yeah.
And AJ's 5-fight parlays come in. And you know what? Do it on Bet99. Make some money, man.
Fred's 5-fight parlay came in last weekend, by the way. Fred's the Team Fred parlay won.
In a row, man.
Team Dave parlay also won. So Fred and I both gave you winning parlays last weekend.
I mean, technically,
and we do it pretty often.
Too, but it's just that I took the manner of win, right? Like I got all my guys.
Yeah, that's true. You picked all the winners, but you did it. Yeah. You made it too complicated for yourself. You got greedy.
Which came out. Listen, man. But I had to bring up money. I want people to win, but I was close. Man.
Yeah. 12-15%. He says I'm going anti-Dave parlay. Love you though. Thank you. 12-15. That's okay. But the Dave parlay for UFC 295. I think I've already got it set up for a couple weeks from now. I'm going with Prohaska, Pavlovich, 20 gets you 94.50. That's good. That's good.
Man,
let's go.
You're underestimating Tom Aspinall, dude. You're
underestimating Sergey Pavlovich. He's got like 6 knockouts in a row. He's crushing everybody. Hey, you know what happened when Tom Aspinall? Hey, you know what happened when Tom Aspinall fought Curtis Blades? His knee exploded. He fell down and he lost. You know what happened when Sergey Pavlovich fought Curtis Blades? Curtis Blades' face exploded and Pavlovich won. Just saying.
Yeah, good point.
Thank you.
They're valid points.
I know they are.
But
I got a lot of valid points. That's the theme of the show. I have valid points, and you pretend you're Steven Seagal. Right? I think.
I'm going to tell you something, Dave.
Okay, cool. So, Jon Jones is out of UFC 295. His fight with Stipe is pushed to sometime next year. Hopefully, UFC still plans on doing that fight. We don't know when it'll be. I do believe, though, that, Dana was asked this question at the slap fight press conference that he did yesterday because there was a big slap fighting event, and Dana was taking questions afterwards, and he took some questions pertaining to the UFC, thankfully, because slap fighting, really? That's still a thing? And Dana swears it's doing really well, right? Dana's like, this is doing great. It's going to different countries. We're going everywhere. The numbers are huge. It's the best-selling video game on cell phones of all time. And I'm like, really? Anyways, it's not for me. I'm happy that Dana is happy and successful with slap fighting. I know a lot of people want to go, it's bad and it shouldn't be done and da-da-da. I don't care. If Dana wants to do it and promote it, and the people that slap want to slap each other and bust their brain cells without any kind of defense, you could go ahead and do that. I'm just not going to watch because that's not the kind of thing that I enjoy.
Even if
But there
Seagal
is a
would
small
enter the
part of
ring?
me that goes, I don't love that the same guy that's promoting UFC is promoting slap fighting because it makes us all look kind of dumb. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
The biggest
Like I
question
feel
here,
like slap fighting is kind of dumb and kind of like barbaric and like I slap you, then you slap me. Whoever falls down first is the winner. Like it doesn't feel like a sport to me. And the fact that the UFC is a sport and it's promoted by the same guy, it makes me feel like a UFC fan. Like if I told a person who wasn't a UFC fan, and I do have friends that don't care about fighting or wrestling, right? And sometimes I talk to them about things that I'm interested in, like fighting and wrestling, and they go, But if I were to tell them, like, yeah, the UFC, it's real, it's a good sport, and it's, it's tough and everything, and then it's like, oh, yeah, and Dana White, I saw him, like, slap fighting, like, what is that? It goes, it's a little embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing as an MMA guy to be like, yeah, no, not slap fighting. Like, ignore that. Ignore what Dana's doing over there. Like, it makes it feel like it's all stupid. It's all dumb. We're all Neanderthals. It's all barbaric. It's everything that people used to say about the UFC before it was legitimized into a real sport. Human cockfighting, all that stuff, right? And like I feel like slap fighting kind of brings us back to those ages, that time, the dark ages, and I think it makes the UFC look bad. I think it makes the UFC look bad. I think it makes us look dumber for liking the UFC because slap fighting exists. And like, I'm happy those guys are making money and doing their thing, and they want to do it, and it's fine and good for them. I just don't like it, and it gives me a bit of a feeling of like, oh, I'm a bit embarrassed that the guy that runs the sport that I really like and respect also runs slap fighting. It's like, oh.
Yeah. It's like, look, I'm going to tell you something. I've watched it a few times. Like, I'm intrigued by some of it. And every time I see it, I cringe. I'm like, because there's no defense, obviously. And the thing is that it's fucking dangerous. I mean, you're looking for permanent brain damage on some of these hits. And like, I know one thing, man, like when you fight, I'd rather be knocked out by a punch than knocked out by a slap. Nothing gets more degrading than getting knocked out by a slap.
Yeah.
It's really one of the worst things that can happen. Like the Stockton slap, every time he would throw that, it's almost like the biggest insult that you can get. It's like getting a shoe, like being thrown at you in like some of like, say, Dubai or anything. It's just like, it's a huge insult, and I was trying to think of like sort of a comparison. I'm like, yeah, Dave, it makes sense. What can I compare it to? I mean, Gordon Ramsay, right?
Yeah.
The cook, Gordon Ramsay.
The very angry chef.
Famous. The very angry chef that makes amazing like shows and like,
Can I say about Gordon Ramsay?
Wait, let me finish
Maybe he shouldn't be a chef because it seems to upset him a great deal. Like, maybe if he just cared less about food, he'd be a happier man. Because every time I see him, he's just enraged, yelling at somebody for, like, slightly cooking something wrong. I'm like, really, dude? You overcooked these eggs, you bastard! Fucking punches him in the face. Like, what are you doing, man? Chill out. It's just
he
food.
loves the UFC.
This burger sucks! Fuck you! It's like, what? What are you doing?
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Chill out,
like, Gordon
dude.
Ramsay, man, listen, man. He's high energy, man. He really gets involved. He gets into your face, but he produces amazing like dishes, and he's like on the mark on a lot of things. But you take Gordon Ramsay, and you have a lot of respect in everything he kind of says, regardless if you get angered by the way he like conducts himself sometimes. But the guy is right. He's a chef, man, and a crazy chef. But imagine putting Gordon Ramsay in a McDonald's commercial. Would you look at him the same after? No, and that's the thing with the UFC and slap fighting, man. You got beef bourguignon, and then you got a, 100%,
what it feels to me, it's like when Vince McMahon started the World Bodybuilding Federation, wrestling fans were like, yeah, we like wrestling, but this is kind of embarrassing. Vince is like, I'm going to take all the wrestling and athleticism out of this and just show the bodies. Look at the muscles. And wrestling fans were like, no, that's not what we like about wrestling. We like the other stuff. Like, the muscles are cool, but it's not really what we're into,
Yeah, maybe McMahon loves the bodies. I mean,
But
you know,
like
maybe
that
he's
was the
into
thing that
kind
he
of
did.
stuff.
Like he had the World Wrestling Federation, and then he decided to start the World Bodybuilding Federation, and wrestling fans were like, nah. And it didn't really catch on, and it eventually disappeared. And this is what slap leagues, power slap or whatever feels like. This is Dana's WBF. This is Dana's XFL. You know, this is Dana's other thing to prove that he's the greatest promoter of all time, and it doesn't just promote UFC. He can't just take mixed martial arts to the mainstream. Here's this power slap that everybody's laughing at, but Dana is such a brilliant promoter that he is going to make it work and get it sanctioned and make it into a real sport, just like he did with MMA. The problem is,
that's my
if
thing.
you look at MMA and then you look at power slap, there are clear differences in the sporting aspect of it, right? And you're like, all right, I don't know. I don't think this is really a sport. And Dana's like, I saw Dana at the press conference. He's like, some guys quit their jobs and they're just training slap full time. And I'm like, are they just hitting each other in the face all day, or are they just slapping a heavy bag? Like, how do you train for this? Do you lift weights, maybe? Like specific muscles you want to work? Like, I don't know what you do. Do you spar? Like, that's a good question to ask these guys. Like, do you do sparring? Because to me, sparring would be an idiotic thing to do. Hey, why don't you concuss yourself like 30 times before your fight where you're going to get concussed? What?
You know,
I don't get it. It's horrible. It's not a sport for me. I'm disappointed that Dana's still doing it, but he seems to have success in it, so good for him.
But that's what I was trying to say from the beginning. Like even to our viewers, man, like, do you consider this slap fighting a sport? Does it fall into the category of a sport? I mean, there's a winner and a loser in sports. There could be a draw sometimes, but I'm just saying, is it a sport or is it a novelty? Is it like, you know, are we going to be talking about slap fighting in 5 years? You know, like I said,
I don't think so.
Last week's show, you know, we talked about like the Toblerone ring that we saw, and it was pretty cool and everything. We saw some gimmicks where it's like the 5-on-5 fights and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they consider it a sport, but in reality, I don't think it is a sport.
I don't think it is.
In my opinion, I don't find it as a sport. You know, I'm sure a lot of guys in slap fighting can slap us out. There's no doubt about it. But,
sure,
you know, I like to be able to defend myself.
I don't care about that. Like, here's the thing. If I let one of these people slap me in the face, maybe they would knock me unconscious. Maybe I would slap them and knock them unconscious. Maybe, but that doesn't mean anything
scary,
to me.
Man.
Oh, cool. If I let you hit me, you might hurt me. No shit. You know? But how about if you wanted to hurt me, would you be able to? Because I think a lot of these power slap guys that might want to hurt me might wind up getting their arms snatched and tapping out pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see the skill. Where I see game. UFC fighters and I go, oh, those guys could do damage. Those guys could do all sorts of stuff. They're real fighters. They're real athletes with real skills. Power slap, it's like you got a good chin and you slap hard. I don't know. 15% says slap fighting is unwatchable. Angelo Contagona says slap fighting is stupid. Lior says Vince loves the meat. Meat, pal. Who doesn't love meat?
He likes the Big Mac.
I love the
Big Mac attack.
All right. I'm not talking about power slap because it's really dumb.
Let me just finish off on this.
Why?
I mean, there's one thing with the UFC and boxing. Things happen. Sometimes things go really nasty and whatnot. It's you don't wish anything to happen. But in slap fighting, I mean, you know, someone could get killed, dude, because it's just full-blown, no defense. You know, you put out your face. And, you know, if something goes really wrong, and I hope it doesn't, man, but that's the end of slap fighting. And that can tarnish the reputation of Dana White, where, man, you know, it can even affect him as, like, the CEO or whatever he's considered now. You know, something goes really sour, he may have to walk away from the UFC as well. You know what I mean? Lawsuits are big, man. Unless, I don't know what like the disclaimers are on those contracts.
They know what they're doing. They're signing waivers. Dana White's not going to get in trouble for somebody getting knocked unconscious. But people are getting concussed big time. But it's big on Rumble, right? Slap fighting is big on Rumble. That's where a lot of the power slap events air. Shout out to all our Rumble viewers tonight. Rumble. Eagle 999, Jerry G69, Topher 1010. Topher 1010 says, so I didn't hear Stipe turn down a fight and not take it because of the risk, or did he get burnt? No, Stipe, what happened? No, he didn't get burnt. This is what happened with Stipe. Jon Jones got hurt. And Dana White wasn't going to offer Stipe an interim title fight, because what's the point of that? Stipe isn't going to fight for an interim title. Stipe is going to fight for the heavyweight title. Stipe is going to fight Jon Jones. I think it would have been disrespectful, and Dana White said the same thing, and I agree. It would have been disrespectful to make Stipe fight like Sergey Pavlovich or Tom Aspinall. What happens if he fights them and he gets knocked out? Then the Jon Jones fight never happens. Then who does Jon Jones fight? Sergey Pavlovich? I don't think Jon Jones is going to come back for that fight. So Stipe didn't get burnt. Stipe wasn't offered another fight. Stipe was told, your fight with Jon Jones is postponed because Jon Jones is hurt. And I don't think Stipe said, hey, give me another fight. He said, okay, that sucks, but what are you going to do? That's athletics. People get injured. So that's what happened. That's what happened. Topher 1010 also says Dave should have dressed up as Gene LaBelle and choked out AJ. I agree, but then we would have had to be in the same studio, and I don't want to do that. Said that? Topher 1010 over on Rumble. Shout out Topher. Shout out Jerry.
I didn't shit my pants. Like they said.
Shout out Eagle. Shout out Miss Brooklyn. Shout out Helium Siam.
Helium.
Johnny North says, didn't Aspinall say Stipe only wanted to fight Jon Jones? I don't know if Stipe was really given the option. Dana White said, we're not going to offer Stipe an interim title fight. It's disrespectful. He's going to fight Jon Jones. He's going to fight for the real title. There's no need to have him fight next contender up for the interim title. Like, come on. Unnecessary. Okay. Other injury that really made me sad this week, George St. Pierre got hurt. He's got, I think it was a shoulder injury. He was supposed to grapple in December at that UFC Fight Pass Invitational, which is very exciting for me because I love that the UFC and Fight Pass is getting into the submission grappling world, into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world, because I love it. I think no-gi Jiu-Jitsu is one of the most exciting sports on the planet. I love that you can have tournaments and watch people, progress through their matches in one night. I think that's a great format. I love the quintet style of jiu-jitsu team matches as well. I think there are a lot of fun gimmicks for jiu-jitsu events that you can have, and I think that jiu-jitsu as a sport is, great. I love jiu-jitsu. I do jiu-jitsu. AJ does too, so we're into it, obviously, and the UFC was getting into it. They are getting into it, and they're doing more events, but one of their big matches was going to be George St. Pierre's return to competition. He got hurt last week. He's out of his match, and in the process of him getting injured and talking about it, he said he was going to match up with Nick Diaz. But apparently Nick has some sort of neck injury, so that wasn't even going to happen. So they're both hurt. I don't know if George will ever grapple for the UFC Fight Pass Invitational. I hope that he does. I hope that it's against Nick Diaz, because that would be amazing. But I truly believe if George and Nick Diaz grappled, it would devolve into a fight. I think Nick would try to fight him for real. I don't think he'd be able to help himself, I
don't think so. I think they would have respect for each other. I think, it's unfortunate that George
there was real heat there, though. When they were fighting each other, I was around them at that time, and Nick was mad. Nick was big mad.
Yeah. But it's George. Look.
Hey, George won't do it. I'm saying Nick might, jump him before the fight. Who knows? Nick is an intense competitor. He makes his opponent his enemy. Maybe not in jiu-jitsu, but in MMA, it was certainly the way. Anyways, it's not happening. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not happening. The fight's off. The grappling match is off. They didn't say George is going to come back and do it another time. They didn't say anything. Hopefully he does, but they got Gordon Ryan to compete on the card instead. He's going to take on Mason Fowler. And I don't know too much about Mason Fowler. I've heard the name, but apparently this is a big matchup, so that'll be good. I'll watch that. I mean, Gordon will tap him probably quick because that's what Gordon does, but should be a cool match.
But you never know.
That's the thing with Gordon Ryan. He's so unstoppable. Now you kind of watch to see, is this going to be the one where he doesn't tap the guy? Not even lose, but, will he not be able to get a tap and win on points? That's how good Gordon Ryan is. you're kind of watching at this point to see, like, how long can he go without losing a single match? At some point, he's got to lose, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon.
That's what I was going to say. It's not going to probably happen, like, soon. I mean,
he's still, like, what, 25, 26? He's young as hell.
Man, they're like, when you look at guys from the past, man, like, Cyborg, Abreu, and all these guys, man, they were just killers. But eventually their time came as well, right?
Everybody's time comes, man. Like, no one's invincible forever. But
Galvao,
the thing is,
Galvao was a beast. And
the thing is, he's so good. He's so far ahead of the pack, and he's so young that, like, his run on top is probably going to last a few more years. You know, it's going to be hard to catch up to Gordon Ryan. No matter how good you are, jiu-jitsu, Gordon is better. Gordon's in better shape. Gordon's jacked. Gordon's strong. Gordon's confident. Gordon knows all the entries, how to get to where he needs to be. He's still quite young. But the thing with jiu-jitsu, like, he's young. He's like 20, I don't know exactly, 25, maybe 27 now. I don't know.
Yeah, 25, somewhere around there.
What is he? Is he really? But the thing is about jiu-jitsu, he's 28. Oh, geez, he's older than I thought. 28 is actually old for jiu-jitsu because there are people in jiu-jitsu at like 17 that are remarkable.
Yeah, they've been training since they were like 5 years old.
Yeah, that's it. The game is different in jiu-jitsu. It's not like MMA where like you could fight and be competitive in, about 35, 36. You start hitting 30 in jiu-jitsu and it's like, yeah, there's some kids that might be able to tap you because there's a lot of like flexibility and movement and being able to be limber and stuff in jiu-jitsu that if you don't you lose that in your 30s. You know what I mean? Like you lose that kind of like rubberness in your 30s. Like you're not made of rubber anymore in your 30s. If you're real flexible and real rubbery, like there's going to be some sort of thing that happens in your 30s where you're not exactly the same as you were. And you need that in jiu-jitsu, But Gordon's still the king. He's the king.
He is the king. And then I was going to say is that, going back to the Logan fight versus Dylan Dennis, when he brought out, Gordon, man, did you see Dylan Dennis? He kept his mouth shut. And Dylan Dennis was a 4-time world champion at one point. But, man, that was then. And now you have Gordon Ryan on the other side. It pissed him. If there was anything that pissed him off more than anything through that fight or leading up to that fight was that. Because you know who the Lion is, man. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Dylan thought he had a chance in the boxing ring with Logan Paul, but he knew he had no chance on the mats with Gordon Ryan. That's another level.
It's a different world, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Just enjoy it, man.
Speaking of different worlds, Francis Ngannou stepping into a brand new world, the boxing ring. This coming Saturday afternoon. The fight scheduled for 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday. We will be with you here, I think probably around 5:30 to break down the fight and watch Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou, two boxing heavyweights. Francis Ngannou making his first professional fight, scheduled for 10 3-minute rounds against the heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, who also is going to be fighting Usyk. Like, the fight's already signed. I don't know when. January?
Yeah. January. It's not going to happen, dude.
Crazy.
And
you know what? I think it will happen, AJ, because I know what you're going to say, and I know you think Francis Ngannou is going to land that knockout, but...
Listen, man, Mike Tyson said it best at the press conference. You know what he said? He says, listen, and there's one thing that people don't realize is that Mike Tyson said he would never coach anyone. I mean, Cus D'Amato was his coach, and that's where it ended. But here he is coaching because he believes in Ngannou so much. And you know how he believes in him?
That's not why.
Listen.
That's not why. Who's paying him?
But I know why.
Who's paying him? Who's paying him to coach? Who's paying him? Answer the question. Who's paying him? Who's paying him?
It doesn't matter.
You don't know, do you? Do you know?
Not really. I don't really care because Mike Tyson said one thing, and I believe Mike, man. Never say no to Mike. I'm going to say one thing. When Mike Tyson said he saw Ngannou sparring, and he knocked out a guy of 6'8", 6'9", clean on the ground. He didn't just knock him out. He broke the guy's leg with a punch. He said he's never seen anything like that in his life. That's a guy coming from the crazy streets, of where he was in New York State, all the way to being heavyweight champion of the world. Naganou broke a guy's leg with a punch.
Well, because of the way he
And I'm going to
fell.
tell you this.
I mean, you can't punch a man so hard in the head that his leg breaks. That doesn't work.
He broke
He
his
hit him.
leg.
He fell. His leg broke.
No,
that
no,
happens.
Yeah, it broke on the way down just from the connection. I'm telling you this. What people don't realize is this. Naganou, okay, has the dream since he was a kid to be the heavyweight champion of the world in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this many times. He crossed over 3 countries to get to a place where he can have a better life. And he did. He became the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. He, barreled through. He made a lot of money, brought it back to his country of Cameroon. He's helped his village with all kinds of things. There's a deep fire in Naganou with his conditioning. This guy is jacked to the gills, being backed up by legendary coaches, including Mike Tyson. I'm telling you, Tyson Fury is not
Mike Tyson being paid by the Saudi government to coach Francis Ngannou. It is a celebrity endorsement to hype this fight. It's not real.
No. It's real. And I'm going to tell you this. Naganou asked Tyson 4 years ago that if he ever had an opportunity to fight in boxing, he would love to have him coach him. And Tyson said, if you ever get there, I will, because he saw something in Naganou that people didn't see 4 years ago. I mean, we all did in the UFC, but not in boxing. And that's the difference. Yeah, he's in Saudi. Man, Saudi is it's going to be insane on Saturday. But I'm telling you this. I love Tyson Fury. I love his dad, Jon, more than anything. Jon is insane. I love this guy. I love the Fury family, man. They're incredible. And I don't want to see Tyson Fury go down. But I don't think he took this fight as serious as he's claiming to be, where Naganou has taken this fight to a level in the last 3.5 months that he is going to walk away with a knockout on Saturday. I'm telling you, somebody's going to get knocked out on Saturday, and I'm going to tell you that we are going to have to reconsider who's the greatest combat fighter of all time. And that's going to happen on Saturday, because if he does that, he is both the UFC champion, heavyweight champion of the world, and he will be the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. I wish Matt Casavant and those guys would talk about it, but I'm telling you, man, I seen his training camp, and it's not just the training camp and everything that impressed me. You know that little thing that he did about a day ago or whatever? It was just a celebrity thing, just to go out for the cameras or whatever. People are like, oh, he doesn't have a left hook and he doesn't have power. It's like, dude, he went out there to ham it up. He's not going to be putting out anything. It's a show. Saturday is the real deal. Naganou's going for the knockout. It's been in his belly, the fire, the spirit, since he left Cameroon as a kid. The guy, man, is going to do it on Saturday. We're going to be considering Naganou in the same, I said it last week, man, in talks of Muhammad Ali, the talks of George Foreman, the talks of Mike Tyson, talks of Arturo Gatti, in my opinion, one of the greatest fighters, and in the talks of George St. Pierre, Khabib, Anderson Silva, but he's going to be on top of everybody. I'm telling you, if he wins the heavyweight championship of the world, he's the greatest fighter of all time.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. He'll definitely be in the conversation. I think it would be massive for Francis Ngannou to do this. I am rooting for him. I would love to see him accomplish this goal. He has had a very difficult journey, and he deserves to get this fight. I'm really happy that he got this fight, but I think getting the fight is the victory in itself. Francis Ngannou is coming off knee surgery. Francis Ngannou has never boxed professionally before, and I think he took this fight because it was available to him. I don't think he's coming in and taking this fight at the most opportune time for him as an athlete. And I think
He's
Tyson
in
Fury
top
is,
condition, Dave.
because Tyson Fury decides when this fight is going to take place. Tyson Fury calls the shots. Tyson Fury is the A side. There's talk that Francis Ngannou will make $10 million for this fight, and on the other side, Tyson Fury will make $50 million for this fight. Tyson Fury is a heavy favorite for a reason. Minus 1,200 to win on the money line. Francis Ngannou plus 675. So if you really believe in Francis Ngannou, AJ, I would tell you to put your money where your mouth is, but you so rarely do. You so rarely do.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to put my money down on this because
you're not. I know you're lying.
Look,
you lie all the time. It's okay. Francis Ngannou by knockout plus 900. Plus 900, AJ, okay? That means if you bet $20 on Francis Ngannou to win by knockout, you win $200. So if you want to go there, AJ, if that's your bet this weekend, go for it.
I'm going to do it. And I'm telling everyone, he's going to win. I can feel it, man. I can see it.
Okay.
I believe in him.
So I've been going back and forth on this fight. As you know, I think a few weeks ago after I saw Francis Ngannou on Joe Rogan, I was really believing in Francis Ngannou. Just hearing him talk, I was like, man, this guy. You know, because I saw Francis Ngannou and he seemed focused, and then I was watching Tyson Fury on his Netflix show, and he seemed like he was kind of not that focused, but at the same time, he's always training, and at the same time, he is one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time, fighting a guy who's never boxed professionally. And Francis Ngannou definitely has the punching power. I don't think he has the ability to land that punching power. I think Tyson Fury is going to play with Francis Ngannou. He's going to let him, I think gas himself out. I think Francis is going to be reaching to land some shots that will not land, and he's going to struggle. And I think that it'll be a struggle for Francis to last all 10 rounds. I think that'll be the big victory, is not getting finished. We saw it in the Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather fight. I think a very similar style matchup to what we're seeing here with Fury and Ngannou. We have a mixed martial artist who has a very heavy punch with great knockout power that will try to land that knockout power, but will gas themselves out early because the superior boxer will find ways to avoid and make their opponent hit air. And that's what Floyd Mayweather did with Conor, and I think that's
Easy, Dave.
Tyson Fury is going to do. Man. Sorry, did Floyd Mayweather not beat Conor McGregor by technical knockout by doctor stoppage because Conor got gassed out and was getting hit a bunch of times over and over again? Did that not happen, AJ? Or did it happen?
But I disagree on that, man.
You can disagree all you want. That's how the fucking fight ended.
Listen, man, I was with pro boxers when I was watching the Conor fight.
That's nice.
Mayweather. They were so impressed, and they called it, man. Listen, I think it was the 8th round where Conor really got a good body punch on Mayweather, and then the ref came and sort of stopped it. But if Conor would have continued on the barrage, man, it would have been interesting. I'm just saying, Conor did a lot better than most people thought. He went the distance, man.
Doug Hepburn dropping a super chat. Doug says, thanks, don't ever change, AJ. I mean, I would like you to change a little bit because you're just pure nonsense right now.
No. You know the truth, David.
I'm going with Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury is the smart pick. A lot of people are going with Tyson Fury by knockout. Minus 550 is the betting odd right now on Tyson Fury by knockout. It is the most likely outcome according to all the bookmakers in Las Vegas and all of that. But I'm going against that. I'm going with Tyson Fury by decision. I think that, a lot of people are thinking this is a 12-round fight, but it's a 10-round fight. And I think Francis is going to be able to last 30 minutes with Tyson Fury. I don't think Tyson Fury is going to put the pedal to the metal. I don't think he's going to go 100% on Francis Ngannou because I think he knows he can outpoint him and outlast him and outbox him for 10 rounds. I think this is going to look like a bit of a spar for Tyson Fury, a bit of a warm-up, a bit of a tune-up fight for the Usyk fight, which is a real fight and a tough fight and a legitimate threat to the heavyweight throne. So I think that, this is kind of a tune-up fight, kind of a comeback fight for Tyson Fury. I don't think he's going to turn on the gas, and I don't think And because of that, I don't think he's going to finish Francis Ngannou. I think that they will have a nice, friendly spar. They'll both make some money, and they'll have a nice time, and they'll hug,
Friendly
and they'll
spar?
smile when it's all over. They're
Japan's
already
blood,
hugging
David,
and smiling.
as they say in
Nobody's
Quebec.
out for blood.
Japan's
Nobody's
blood.
out for the kill. Francis knows that he's got a puncher's chance,
Oh.
but he knows he's not going to connect. Tyson Fury by decision right now, bet99.com plus 500. You bet 20, you win 120. And I think that is
Japan's blood, David.
fantastic value. Tyson
David.
Fury plus 500 by decision.
You're
Fury
smoking the ganja,
by
man.
decision is the Dave play of the weekend. We've got no UFC, so I'm going to bet on Fury by decision plus 500. I think that works real well. I don't think Fury scores the knockout. I think Ngannou will last, and that will be the victory. Lasting 10 rounds with the heavyweight champion of the world. Ngannou will lose. He will go to the PFL and fight somebody, and that'll be that.
No, Dave. I'm gonna look. I hate to disagree with Dave Simon. I hate to disagree, but you're gonna be surprised on Saturday.
I
And
hope
so
you're
will
right.
The rest of the world.
I hope
So
you're
will the
right.
rest
I
of
don't
the
think
world.
you will be, but I
don't
hope you
think
are.
they're going. I don't think they're going there to spar. I don't think they're going there to turn this into some celebrity fight.
Sure.
If Tyson Fury thinks that, it's going to be a bad night because Naganou is going there to bring his childhood dream to fruition. He's going to make it happen
Fruition?
on Saturday. Fruition.
What's fruition?
As great Steven Seagal would say.
It's not a word.
That. Yes, it is.
Fruition.
And I'm going to tell you. Fruition. Or fruition.
You said fruition.
Whatever you want to call it. Well, England will probably agree with
I mean,
me.
you could say the
But
word
I'm gonna
properly,
tell
or
you-
you could make up words. It's up to you.
But I'm going to tell you something, Dave. Saturday will be a knockout. There's going to be he might take it like not as serious in the first round. He's going to realize that he made a big mistake. Somebody will be knocked out. I don't think anybody's going the distance. Tyson Fury, I don't think has ever been knocked out. But he's never met a punch that can buckle a guy's leg and break before he hits the ground. That shows you how much power is behind that.
No,
right.
I think he has.
That's no joke.
No, I think he has. And
No,
his
he's
name
been
was
knocked down, but he's never been knocked out.
No, but he's faced I think he's faced more powerful punchers than Francis Ngannou.
I don't think so. I
think
really don't
Deontay
think so.
Wilder is far more dangerous than Francis Ngannou. Deontay Wilder hits like a truck, and he knows how to box.
Well, let me tell
Fury
you,
whooped his ass
it's going to be a
3 times. One was a
Interesting
draw,
Saturday.
but 2 other was a win, and the draw was a win too, really. Fury won all 3. Fury
Listen, man,
whooped that
Tyson
guy's
Fury,
ass.
he's the greatest
Fury's
heavyweight
so good.
boxer of our time. But Saturday, I don't think he took it seriously enough. I'm telling you.
I'm
No
saying
one
I don't
makes a
think he needs to
fight
take
in
it that
January.
seriously. He's Tyson
has to.
Fury.
You know what? They said
No.
that about Mike Tyson when he fought Buster Douglas. Right? They said the same thing. It's
How
Mike
many
Tyson.
how many
And look what
boxing
happened.
matches had Buster Douglas had before he fought Mike Tyson? How many
fought
fights
a
did he
lot.
had? He had a bunch of fights.
He had
Francis
a bunch of
Ngannou's
fights.
never boxed professionally. I want him to win, okay? I'm rooting for him. I want him to win. But I also kind of like Tyson Fury. Also, when you see the picture of Fury and Ngannou next to each other, I love that the big chubby guy is going to just whoop the big jacked guy's ass. You know, like Ngannou's like all jacked, chiseled, like looks like a
He's
superhero.
chiseled, man.
Tyson Fury
He
just
does.
looks kind of chubby. He's got some stretch marks going, you know. He's like
But he's
"Eh."
always like that.
But this guy, he's a killer, man. He's going to win. I love that fighting. That's how fighting really works. The chubby guy is going to win. Like, it doesn't matter how many muscles you have, whatever. The guy with a little chub on him, that's who you got to watch out for. He's going to smash you. The guy who's real confident but also looks kind of like a regular dad, that's the guy you got to watch out for. The guy that's all jacked and is like, "Arr!" Don't worry about that guy. He'll gas out real quick. He's real jacked like that, so he gives off the impression of being scary and dangerous. The big chubby guy, he
Like
doesn't
Steven
want to
Seagal.
give off the impression. He doesn't need to give off the impression. He just is that guy. That's just who
Here
he
comes
is.
the boom.
You don't
That's
need
what
to
you're
give
talking
up.
about.
Like real badasses don't need to act like they're badasses. You know what I mean? Real badasses just are. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, well, you're in trouble. You know? That's just how it works.
Ah, Dave.
I love it.
You've been watching too much movies.
I
And
love
here comes
Tyson
the
Fury.
boom.
I think he's great, man. I'm a Tyson
No, he
Fury
is.
fan.
There's
I
no
really
doubt
am.
about it.
Like,
So
he's
am I,
one of my
man. So
favorite
am I.
boxers ever. I love Tyson Fury.
I agree with you, man. And it's hard for me to see that on Saturday.
You want to hear Dave's top 5 boxers of all time?
Let me who? I want to hear this.
It's a tough list.
I already named named a few before.
Like, I'm not saying greatest of all time. I'm saying, like, my favorite boxers ever, like, to watch. Because I'm not a big boxing guy, you know?
Who?
My favorite boxers. Tough list. I would
It's easy,
definitely
man.
put Tyson Fury on that list for sure. He might be my number 1 or number 2.
What? Above Muhammad Ali? Get the hell out of here, Dave.
Like, I never watched Muhammad Ali. He wasn't in my era.
What?
Like, you're old enough to watch Muhammad Ali box, like, in his prime, but
You still can look at videos, man.
Nah, but okay.
Rumble
I mean,
in
sure,
the Jungle.
whatever. Ali was cool, and I like the documentaries and movies about Ali. But I'm talking about, like, guys. I'm not talking about that, AJ. I'm talking about, like, when these guys fight on pay-per-view, I want to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ali never fought on pay-per-view so I could watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Mike Tyson, like, that was before my time. I'm talking about boxers of my time that I've enjoyed.
Your time. Okay. Now you're talking. Okay, I can live with that.
You know?
But
like,
Mike
I'm
Tyson,
saying
man, used to bring in
boxers
pay-per-view
that I
numbers
care
like
about,
crazy.
boxers that I, like, have tuned in for, you know? Tyson Fury is on that list, but it's a short list is what I'm saying. Tyson Fury is on the list. Lennox Lewis is on the list.
Oh, yeah.
And Bernard Hopkins is on the list.
But yeah.
And, like, those are the 3 main guys. Like, everybody else in boxing is, like, whatever.
You
Floyd was cool.
forgot
I'd
about
watch Floyd Mayweather fights. You know, when Floyd was fighting, I would watch him. So he's got to be on the list. Yeah. Those are, I don't know. I don't even know who would, like, round out the top 5. Maybe Evander Holyfield.
Look, Evander was amazing, man.
You
Larry
know?
Holmes, all the rest of these guys, man.
Yeah, but I'm
Spinks
saying
was
guys
amazing.
that I like to watch in my time.
But
Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis is probably my
Duran,
number 1.
man.
I love
Listen,
Lennox
man.
Lewis. He was my favorite.
You know, the brawl in Montreal, man. Like, you know, you look at some, like, I had the opportunity to see some fights, you know, but again, man, I see some amazing fights. Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward.
Yeah.
Man, these were like,
you're more into boxing
look at
than
these
I am.
fights. No, but when you look at some of the best, like, boxing fights in boxing history, man, you see Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward there. I think they're on the top 5. 2 of their fights are on the top 5. 3 out of their, like, top 10. You know, you look at, like, Roberto Duran, man. You know, no mas. It happened here in Montreal, man. You know, you look at guys like George Foreman, who was the Mike Tyson of his days, man. You know, and then you could go all the way back, man. You could look at Jack Johnson and all the rest, man. You know, Rocky Marciano, man. It's hard to say, but let me tell you, one guy that really pumped me up, you know, other than Muhammad Ali, because my dad obviously was a big Ali fan, who actually saw Muhammad Ali fight in the Olympics. I think it was in '67. My dad was there. He was cornering Mancini, that was from Montreal in Italy at the time. So my dad was there, and he got a chance to see Cassius Clay. That was his name back then.
Crazy.
Fight in the Olympics. And my dad said, man, it was something to see. Whatever this kid was something that was beyond. It was almost like it wasn't real. He was that good. But, you know, for myself, like, my greatest fights were looking at Mike Tyson coming in and the fear that he put into his opponents. And being a spectator watching Tyson go into the ring was like, holy shit, how fast is he going to kill him? You know, like, literally, like, Mike Tyson he put fear into everybody, including our fans. We're like, oh, I hope he doesn't kill that guy. But, you know, I had a great opportunity to see amazing guys, you know. And like I said, I used to love watching Arturo Gatti fight.
Yeah, you've been watching boxing a long time.
I seen Eddie Mello fight, man. You know, I seen, like, so many. And mind you, he died, you know, a while back. You know, obviously he became an enforcer for the mob. But the thing is that, you know, we saw the Hiltons, so the greatest boxing family out of Montreal, man. You know, Matthew Hilton was champion. The Hiltons, man, were like one of the greatest boxing family that most people don't even remember.
Yeah.
They were here, you know. It's incredible. Otis Grant, man, you know.
come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
we've
I hear
seen-
people
I've seen
talk
some
about
great
that Mike
boxing.
Tyson era because a lot of guys like that are just like maybe 10, 15, 20 years older than me. Mike Tyson was like a thing. Like for AJ, Doug is saying
man.
AJ is right. I was a teen, early 20s when Tyson was on top. Everybody watched. Like Mike Tyson was a deal for you guys. For me, Mike Tyson was just like Drederick Tatum on The Simpsons. He was just like a caricature. He was never he was never a fighter to me. He was just always like the cartoon character Mike Tyson. Like what he is now is always what he was to me. He was never really a fighter. He was the guy that bit Evander Holyfield's ear. Like that was to me like when I saw Mike Tyson first fight, that's what he was doing. He was biting ears.
We forgot about Manny. No, but that's wrong to think of Tyson. Yeah, that's when Tyson and Evander fought,
that's
man,
what he
which was an
became,
amazing
man.
fight.
Sometimes your legacy is defined by what you become because a certain generation
Absolutely.
sees you as that, and that's all you are to them. And that's all he is to me. Mike Tyson is a guy who's just like, a guy who had life problems, and he had a really bad end to his boxing career. And I know he was really good and dangerous at one time, but I was like a child or not born when it was happening,
Dude,
so it doesn't mean much to me.
He was the greatest. And you know what? Look,
right.
I just saw some comments. We forgot to mention Manny Pacquiao.
He was
Triple
cool too.
G.
I liked him.
There's so many guys, man. Hearns. There's boxing is so deep. And that's why I'm getting back to where I'm going to finish off is on Saturday. Naganou knows all those names. He grew up knowing all those names. He grew up knowing about Mike Tyson, and here he is in his corner on Saturday. All these names, man, are so deep into boxing before the UFC ever came out. And they're still there today, man. We could talk about them. I see all these names coming out. But that's why I hope Tyson Fury took this fight serious on Saturday, which I don't think he did because you already pulled out that match for January.
All right.
Naganou
he takes it seriously enough. It's a tune-up fight for January.
Those names, man. It's not a tune-up, man.
Yeah,
I think Naganou is going to be fighting maybe in January, with a rematch because I'm telling you, Nagano's going to be amongst those names on Saturday.
Well, we are going to be watching it with you Saturday afternoon, and it's going to be a good time because you can already see that we are split here. AJ going with Francis by knockout. I'm going with Fury by decision. What did I see on Rumble? I think Golden Tulip took Francis by knockout as well. So some people are going with Francis Ngannou. Some people are hopeful that Francis Ngannou will get the win. And we will see here Saturday afternoon around 5:30 right here on the Ringside Report Network. I'll be back here tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time with Johnny North talking professional wrestling. All the stuff that happens in WWE and AEW. We'll cover it here Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern on Wrestling Uncensored. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. A big shout-out to Doug Hepburn. To Leor, to Angelo, to Patrick C. Hamilton, all the members checking in tonight. And Angelo, you are the Super Chat leader. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Patrick and Doug, dropping the Super Chats tonight. Angelo, you are the Super Chat leader of the night. Doug dropping a Super Chat. He says, Mike Tyson, KO, best Nintendo game ever, better than Mario and Zelda, Johnny. Whoa. You're saying Punch-Out? Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is better than Super Mario? I don't think so.
I agree with him. I agree with him. It drove me nuts, that Punch-Out game. It freaked me out.
My brother can beat that game like real easy. He beats it. He can beat it in like 20 minutes. It's crazy.
Man, he's got to teach me because
he's got like all the tricks to beat it. He could beat Punch-Out real fast.
I have a place not too far away from my house that I go like every Friday. Like you can just play unlimited like arcades. And Punch-Out's there, and I'm going nuts. Like, the guy knows me over there, and he's like, Anthony, like, AJ, calls me AJ because he watches our show. He's like, AJ, take it easy, man. I'm like, I'm going to punch out this machine. I got to beat this guy. But I can't. And it's just driving me mad. But Dave, let me...
Super chat.
No, cool.
Dave, let me end the show with one thing.
Now we talked about video games. I want to go... play that new Super Mario Wonder. I've got that game. I want to go play some more of that. Stop talking to me. What?
Dave.
What?
I'm going to end the show with Steven Seagal quote. All these men may be the greatest in all combat sports, but there's none no greater than the man in front of you, the great Steven Seagal. Thank you.
What? Was that Busta Rhymes?
That's
Sounded
Buster
something
Siegel
about
to
as
you.
a great short. What? As a shorty,
Mm-mm.
I was always told I was gonna be greatest. I said, if I can't be the part of the greatest, I gotta be the greatest myself. And
That's
what?
right.
What a surprise! If
And his
people
name is
got
Steven
enough,
Seagal.
give me some more. If people want to watch it, give me some more. Yo, Flip, where the weed at? Give me some more.
You're a good man, David. You're a good man.
Even though we're making
Peace
money,
to
we
you,
can give me
brother.
some more. With the cause of the big crib, give me some more. Everybody spread love, give me some more. If you want to live in USA, give me some more. Man, Buster Rhymes was awesome. All right, guys, thanks for the show. I appreciate you. Why am I
That's it?
thanking you for the show? I did the show. Thanks for watching the show. I'll do another one tomorrow
Right.
for you. How about it?
Did you
Right
know?
here.
Did you know that
On the
Did you know
Ringside
that-
Report Network. Shut up, AJ.